Welcome to the Lifestyle Property Podcast. I'm Jamie Greaves, your host and professional property investor. I'm here to bring you insights, home truths, and powerful stories about what really goes on in property investment, business, and growing your dream lifestyle. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Lifestyle Property, and welcome to episode 4, which is titled Why I Chose Property Investment, which is a very huge topic, and I can't wait to get into it with you guys. So let's do it. So going back 7 years ago now, while I was still working in my career, I chose to grow assets and a lifestyle business. So assets that would pay me a passive income whilst I slept or traveled the world, and assets that didn't require work and essentially significantly bring forward the retirement age. And I did extensive research. I'm a risk-averse northerner. So I researched stocks and shares and gold and silver and crypto and Bitcoin and you name it. And these are just the reasons why I chose property investment. And they're reasons that are absolutely fundamental. So if you're new to property investment, if you're just starting out, then the reasons that I chose property will be very helpful for you, I'm sure, and they are kind of cornerstones to investment. And for those who are experienced investors, I'm sure the reasons that I chose property will be really useful reminders, because we do get bombarded with noise out there, and there is a lot of noise, and it's good to focus. So these are really important lessons. So they're not financial advice, precursor, but these are the reasons that I chose property investment, okay? And they're really what pulled me into the sector, and I'm really, really grateful they did. So let's get into it. Number 1 was leverage. When I learned about this, there was no turning back. And here I'm talking about financial leverage. Now, there's lots of other amazing forms of leverage, like teamwork and collaboration and outsourcing within property. But here I'm talking about financial leverage, okay? And this multiplies our return. So there's lots of leverage we can do, say, within rent to rent. But here I'm talking about when we move on to buying assets, which is exciting. Okay, so let me break it down. Once I learned of this, I was like, this is a bit of me. So this is the first reason. So if I wanted to go out there and say buy £100,000 worth of stocks or shares or crypto or gold or silver, then you need £100,000. Obviously, for the value. Now, there is some form of leveraging debt there, but it's really, really risky and not recommended. Okay. However, within property, leverage is normal and it multiplies our returns. So if I want to go and buy £100,000 property, I don't need £100,000 because I can go and get a mortgage. And for us investors, most mortgages are 75% of that value. Okay, so the bank will lend me 75 grand to buy the £100,000 house. So once we add in stamp duty and legals and tax, let's just say we need 30,000. Okay, 30,000 to buy a £100,000 house. Well, amazing, because if I have that 100 grand, I could buy 3 houses and have a bit of change. Okay, 3 houses worth £100,000 each, rather than £100,000 worth of stocks. So let's say in this example, I've got 3 houses worth £100,000 each, 300,000 in total, or £100,000 in stocks. Now, over time, because of this leverage, our return is going to be way higher within property. And this was like, this is me. I love this because my property is paying me an income every month, which is amazing. But as those houses grow in value, houses or flats, the properties grow in value, where the real wealth is built within properties, capital growth. I'm getting all that. The bank aren't getting that. Okay, so as those houses eventually, like they'll be. It depends on the area and the type and everything. When that will double, might be 8 years, might be 12 years. Who knows? Okay. Well, we do know based on the areas, but let's just say they double in 12 years. Okay. Once they've doubled in value, and the average is 10 years, and they're all worth £200,000 each, they've gone up by £300,000 each. Okay. All that growth is mine. Whereas my stocks might have only just doubled in value in that same time. So I earn either £100,000 growth in stocks or £300,000 growth in property because I've got 3 properties and it's de-risked. So it's just, as soon as I learned that, I was like, amazing. So hopefully you've understood that. So that was the number 1 reason that I chose property. Okay, because of financial leverage. And I'm going to go through also some other reasons now and over the big reasons why I chose property. And I'm sure they'll be really, really valuable for you. Number 2 is it's safe and it's secure. It really is. And I love that about it. So to go back to point number one, banks will lend 75% of the asset value for an investment property normally, 75%. Why? Because it's really predictable. It's a predictable asset. Okay, it's not like crypto, which can fluctuate hugely. It's an incredibly mature market. You can touch it, you can feel it. Many of you will have heard the phrase, "Oh, it's safe as houses," there. There's a reason, because it's they're secure places to live, but more importantly, for us in our thinking here, they're very safe investments. It's really hard to go wrong, okay? Because time is really forgiving within property. I made a couple of mistakes when growing the portfolio to the speed and scale that we did. We made a couple of mistakes, but Father Time's looked after us. And what I mean by that is, if you've overspend on a refurb, or you buy not quite the perfect property, but in Father Time, inflation kicks in and capital growth kicks in, and oh, amazing, we're no longer in any kind of bad position on that property. Thank you, world. Okay, so it's a very safe and secure asset. Okay, so people will always need a home. Will always need a home. Okay, so and there's an absolute need for the private entrepreneur, the private investor. We want an entrepreneurial investor mindset rather than a landlord mindset. But the world needs landlords, because otherwise there'll be so much homelessness. We do good in the world, okay, by creating homes for people to live in. You're doing good. Otherwise, there's just not enough stock being built by government after government after government. There's too much brown belt, green belt, restrictions, planning laws, you name it. So it's a great thing. And also in my sector, in the world of holiday lets and Airbnb and SA, well, people will always want holidays. We all love a break. Okay, we love, and this is gonna. I was maybe a little bit naive when I was younger. I always aspired to go abroad. We didn't grow up having abroad holidays, and my holidays were Blackpool and Skegness. Many of you won't know where those places were, particularly Skegness is. So I always had the mind that it was all about international holidays. But when I started to research holiday lets as an investment class a few years ago, I was like, wow. And now I love it. I love that I can just hop in the car and get. Granted, I go to one of my holiday lets, it's free, it's amazing. But they're always booked, they're always chocker, because people are aware of that. Yeah, we live in a culture of convenience. So if you're doing my sector of Airbnb and holiday lets, they provide huge good to the local economy. They're really well. Tourism brings cash flow to pubs, to restaurants, to shops, you name it. Okay, to local attractions. And if you're doing a slower strategy like a buy-to-let world, then no problem. You're still providing homes for people. And particularly what we want to be doing within property is adding value. And what I mean by that is often undertaking some level of refurbishment works. So then we're creating a beautiful home for someone to live in, or a beautiful place for someone to go and stay in while they're working away from home, i.e. contractor lets, or a beautiful holiday home. And because of that, they're very safe and secure investments. And they're really predictable. We can absolutely look at what's happened over history, and we can track. And God, the internet makes things so easy these days. We know what something's worth. Okay, we know what something's worth. I've just thought of a bonus one. As I'm recording this now, and because I want this podcast to be very authentic, very true, very honest, very transparent. And in the early podcast, you're going to get a lot from me. I want you to learn my insights, my stories, and then I'm going to be interviewing some top people who I think can be really rich, and there'll be very deep, rich conversations that will open up. And I've just thought of another one, so I'm going to write that down now, and I'll come to that at the end. How exciting! But yeah, that was a huge one. So point number 3. So alongside leverage and being safe and secure, it's just the very supply and demand nature of the UK housing market and the UK property market. Okay, and we're not alone. Other markets, particularly in Europe and elsewhere, have this same kind of infrastructure in place, whereby, and this is not a good thing, but we need to do good with it. We've had a chronic undersupply of housing in this country all the way back since World War II. You know, there's been for a long time now, we've not built good enough and enough housing. And we're a tiny island. I'm always dead proud of the Olympics. The Olympics was a couple of months ago, and I'm dead proud of the Olympics because we overperformed. Australia really overperformed per capita, but that's because it's beautifully sunny out there. They can always exercise, but we really overperform. When you look at how tiny our island is, so it's just have confidence in this, guys. So if you're thinking about investing in property, or you actively are, remind yourself of this. We've got a huge demand for housing. Okay, so we're a growing population. Okay, we're a popular place to live, even though I think it's too cold and rainy here. And if I didn't have close family ties, I'd be elsewhere tomorrow, yesterday. But it's a beautiful country, and it's really popular for workplace. So we are growing. We're living longer and better, but we're a tiny island. We're not so. Don't try, if you're educate yourself and you're wanting to do UK property investment, educate yourself with UK property investment. It's different to America. It's different to Dubai. It's different to Australia. Not only do we all have different finance and planning and regulation laws, but just the very basics, and we don't have much land. In Australia and America, you've got tons of land, but we don't. So just for anyone who's ever ran a business or worked in business before, you'll know this. But when you've got a growing demand and a restricted supply, what happens? Prices go up. And that's why, okay, I'm not going to go here through the macroeconomics with you. Maybe I'll get someone on the podcast for that. But over time, property doubles in value. It's said to be every 10 years when you look back over time. But what's really interesting is, and that's just an average, it's all area by area. But I'll give you a live exercise to do now to give you some faith and confidence. A live exercise, okay? I would encourage you, so not if you're driving, not if you're running or walking or you name it, but if you're somewhere safe, or if you sat down, or just make a note of this because it's only going to take you 30 seconds to do, pop onto Rightmove sold prices. Rightmove, it'll be Rightmove and then house prices, and just put in a postcode. Say, let's put in the postcode of your home or where you live, and just look at the house price growth. Okay, look at it. Look at what it was worth 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And that is Father Time and inflation being your best friend. Okay, some areas have had better capital growth than others, and some will have better moving forwards. That again is another topic for a different day. But it's really powerful once we understand that. Okay, so leverage, safe and secure supply and demand. And then number 4, and this is probably my favourite, is you get to collaborate. Okay, you get to work with other people. Okay, and I love that about property. You can't really work with others when you're buying stocks and shares. Not unless you're buying a tiny part and you're going as a syndicate, or you're working with an intermediary who's just looking after their own commissions, basically, and they want their own fees. But within property, you can, in many, many, many ways of collaboration. I can honestly tell you that the best deals that I've done within property have been one form of collaboration or another. And it's really, really powerful. So where we can work with other people who have different strengths and different experience, different minds than what we have, then genuinely 2 + 2 = 5 when done correctly. There's a right and wrong way of doing everything, obviously. So there's a right and wrong way about, let's, for example, doing a joint venture or a private loan, or working with a builder, or finding deals, securing deals. Of course there is. But when you do it correctly, it's really powerful. And it's a lot more enjoyable. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more rewarding to share the highs and lows with other people. You're hearing a lot from me in the early parts of the podcast, but I've got a team. I've got business partners. I've got joint venture partners. The podcast is my baby because I've got a big mission to help others. Okay. But I absolutely collaborate with everything that I do, and I never want to not. That was poor English, wasn't it? I'm going to have a future episode where I'll go into some of my biggest mistakes made. Honestly, one of them was just trying to do everything alone. We should not be doing that. It's not a good idea, and it's a common way of making a huge mistake. So collaboration is a huge, huge reason for why I and all of us should deploy a big focus into property investment. It's a huge, huge benefit. Okay. Number 5, and this is not my phrase. I forget where I heard it. I do so. Although I am a mentor, I still learn every day. Once you open up a growth mindset and you realize that you know nothing, and you learn. So I still have a mentor, even though I am a mentor, and I still actively seek information out every single day because, as I said, once you've opened up the floodgates for learning, you can't then turn back. And I heard this phrase. I was on a Zoom call. It was we get various people in on our mentorship course. So we get an interior designer, our accountant, broker to help our mentees. And one of our kind of clients said this, and it's perfect. Property is a people business and a numbers game. So remember that. It's a people business and a numbers game. And that happened to suit me. So it suits me. So I love people. I like people. Right now I'm talking into a microphone, but I'm imagining that I'm talking to you. And that's what I'm really enjoying. I'm imagining that I'm talking to one of my friends or business partners or mentees, and just an honest, authentic conversation. The kind of conversations that I have all the time in my world. This is what I'm imagining I'm having. And when I'm going to hand select certain people for the podcast where I think they'll bring real value. And I love that'll be that side of it. But within property, I work a lot with people, and we all do. But then we need someone in our business to be good at numbers. Okay, so it is a numbers game, and that happened to me as well. So I'm not good at refurbs, I'm not good at practical things, but I love numbers and I love people. They're my two focuses. So in my business, I find our deals and I handle our finance. So I'll get our mortgages and refinances and so forth. So if you like people, or if you're good at numbers, you'll love property. And normally you'll need both. So if you are more analytical, and you're, say, on the wealth dynamic profile more of a steel, if you're more of a blue in terms of Herman and other psychometric tests, then you'll want to work with people that are more that are more people-based. And if you're an extrovert, so if you're a star in wealth dynamics, if you're a people person, then you'll want to work with someone who's more of a numbers-focused. And those are the two things. Now, of course, you need to learn how to find really great deals and how to raise finance and the right rules and regulations and management. That's all a given. But what's really powerful, and then a big reason for property, is if you can align that up. So if you can have, and it suited me that. So I love people and I like numbers. I don't love numbers, but I like finding solutions on them. So yeah, make sure that you find that within your business, because then honestly, that's how you can live a huge dream lifestyle in a short space of time when you can have that kind of collaboration. And then here's the bonus one that I thought about when I was going through tip number 1 or 2, reason number 1 or 2. This was the bonus one that I thought of, that I should have noted down in the top 5. And actually, this is probably top 1 or 2. Can anyone guess what I'm going to say? This is not a live, it's not a Zoom, there's nothing engaging, unfortunately, but have a little think for 30 seconds now of what am I going to say? What's my bonus reason for why property is an amazing asset class and one that's, I think, the most powerful around? Okay, drum roll, please. The ability to buy it discount or rent it discount if you're doing rent to rent, but discounts. So we can't go and get discounts on any other asset class, to the best of my knowledge. Okay, so if you're buying stocks or shares, they are the price at when you go to buy. But property we can by working with people who are motivated. Okay, so the majority of people selling or renting their house, they want the maximum price for it. I recently sold my father's house after he sadly passed. I was the world's least motivated vendor. I'm a full-time property investor. We refurbed the property, the house. The proceeds are going to my siblings who've got special needs. Good luck trying to get a discount from me. Good luck. We sold it for above asking price because I'm educated and I'm not motivated. However, in a different world, had that been my older brother, for example, and I wasn't around, he would have been very emotionally invested to get rid of that house immediately. And he wouldn't have known how much it was worth. And he wouldn't have cared. He just wanted it rid. So had you come in with a cheeky offer, same house, nothing's different with the house, but if you'd come out with a cheeky discount offer, he'd have accepted it. Okay. So it's all about the vendor that we're working with. So if you're doing rent to rent, there needs to be a pain point for you to solve. And if you're buying, we want to be buying at discount. Okay, it's not always possible. You might be able to add value in other ways about market value, but I love that about property because so long as you're being ethical about it, and by being ethical, you might buy at discount, but be a sure thing, be reliable, don't mess people around, look after people like family. And that's when property can become really, really powerful. Because if you're buying at a discount and then you're adding value, you can recycle your money a lot quicker. And that allows you to grow your portfolio much quicker and sustainably. Okay, if you're doing rent to rent, if you're working with motivated landlords, you're more likely to get the better houses and the better apartments and then the better deals. And they're more likely then, when you solve their problem and you bring value to them, they're going to recommend you. They're going to introduce you to their friends, to their family, to the rest of their portfolio if you do a good job. So we want to find pain and solve it, okay? And then have really good ethics and do what you say you're going to do. So I love that. So that is bonus reason why property is an amazing asset class for creating lifestyle, time, financial freedom, okay? Because we get to buy or rent at discount. Amazing, okay? So I could go on. I'm really conscious of your time. I'm not a huge fan of the podcast where they go on for 4 or 5 hours long and we can't absorb information in that time. I'd rather be punchy and get straight to the point and pack it full of value for you. So, because time's our most valuable asset, we can get more health and change than everything else in our life, but we can't get more time. So I've made a commitment to you'll get an episode every single week from me. And I'm going to aim for them to be between 25 and 30 minutes, roughly. So you know what to expect. And I'd really appreciate that if I was you. That's what I loved. And then when I interview people, okay, we're going to go down the rabbit hole because sometimes we'll have to cover a life story within one interview. So there might be between, say, 40 and an hour maximum. I'll never go over an hour because we have busy lives and we want to take action, not just learn for learning's sake. Okay. So just to recap, some of the reasons why I chose property to create my lifestyle, okay, property investment. Number one is leverage, really powerful, i.e. bank mortgages, amazing when you start buying. 2, it's safe and secure, safe as houses. 3, supply and demand is in your favour, particularly in the UK, okay, very popular. That's why we get so many international buyers because of the supply and demand. They're not coming here for the weather. 4 is collaboration. Okay, you get to work with other amazing people. 5 is it suited me. People, business, numbers game. Yeah, that's a bit of me. Stocks and shares and Bitcoin, it's all too analytical, numbers based, and in my opinion, very risky. And then number 6, we get to buy or rent at discount. So it means you make money on the day that project starts, which de-risks it. If you're buying or renting at discount, you've got a lot less risk. And it fuels portfolio growth. It really, really does. Okay, so that's why I chose property. I hope that was really useful, guys. In the next episode next week, I'm going to break it down into my first year as an investor. Okay, that's going to be packed full of so many lessons for you. And that episode is called The UK's Worst Property Investor. Because that's what I was. Okay, so I can't wait to see you there. Take care, have a lovely week, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you for listening to the Lifestyle Property Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could leave us a review so we can reach and help more people. I'll also be giving one person who leaves a review a free family holiday to one of our luxury holiday lets. Thank you and see you next time.